Hey guys, welcome to another episode of On the Chopping Block Movie Reviews. We've got a very special episode for you today, and I'm joined by the creator and founder of Spicy Pulp Entertainment, Mr. Sam Hames. And Spicy Pulp is like an online magazine that deals with movies and TV news and all that kind of stuff. So congratulations, it's good to have you here, Sam. High five, bro.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure,
man, good job.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be reviewing Winchester, which is directed by the Spiegg brothers, and it's very much an Australian production. I had no idea going into this movie that it was like completely funded almost production-wise by an Australian point of view.
Yeah.
The film stars Jason Clarke and Helen Mirren and is about the Winchester house, and it's set in 1906. And Jason Clarke's character is he's like a doctor, and he's been called in to evaluate the psychology of the woman that owns the Winchester house. And she is the leading stockholder of the Winchester Arms Company. She's built this grand big house with so many rooms, and she's saying that like ghosts are telling her to build these rooms. So the board is like really concerned. And so they send this doctor in to make an evaluation, and then spooky stuff happens. So this is the latest film from the Spiegg brothers, and there's some Australian filmmakers, and they originally did Daybreakers, Predestination, and recently Jigsaw, which
Didn't see it. So
I don't know. It's like the 8th movie in the franchise. But I know they tried to do something different, but I wasn't a fan. Now Australians are really known for good horror flicks. They've made some good stuff. You seen The Loved Ones?
Yeah.
That flick's awesome. Wolf Creek, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm a huge fan of the Babadook. Babadook, I scared like a bitch. I was like,
I still haven't seen it, man.
You haven't seen the Babadook?
It's too crazy for me, man. But I get it. Like, they're good. These guys got what they're doing.
Yeah. I think they're really good. And unfortunately with Winchester, I just feel the film lacks. It lacks quite a bit. And I feel like the film, for most part, is on like an autopilot. I think generally it's shot quite nicely, like from the production design and cinematography. I think it's shot really nicely. It's graded quite well. But generally I felt as a horror, it's just a run-of-the-mill kind of horror movie. Like if people that like just easily succumb to horror movies, they could watch that and have a good time. But I think people that are really fans of the genre, like people that like the Conjuring and stuff, that really well done, built tension in horror, this film is kind of like a cheap scare horror movie that relies heavily on jump scares.
Yeah, well, definitely. And like, you're a horror, aficionado, almost, I'd say, a horror connoisseur,
Oh, thank you.
And so I think if you go, and like, to me, this film was made for a general sort of audience, not like a horror connoisseur audience. Look, it had some jump scares, like you saw me. I jumped around. I don't do well.
This jumpy bitch, seriously, the whole movie
I don't do jump scares, man. Like, I'm an action cinema guy. Like,
I was freaking out. I was freaking out because of your jumps, like when you were freaking out jump scares.
Damn right. Oh, I had to scare,
Yeah.
But yeah, look, to me it was like sort of like, this was made for just a cinema going audience. Just like, your regular mum and dad who are going to go to an audience and say, oh, what's that? Let's go see that, and go to there. Sarah Winchester, she was like batshit crazy, and built this house that's still in San Francisco.
It's San Jose.
San Jose.
Yeah.
It's still in San Jose.
Still there, you can go see it, guys.
Yeah, you can go see it. And and she just had, phenomenal wealth. And she kept building, and, had staircases that went to nowhere and rooms that didn't open.
There was no logic to all the rooms. One of the biggest, it wasn't a major flaw, but one thing that bothered me was that Jason Clarke's character, I found him very unlikable. From the get-go, dude was a dick.
I think he was created that way, though.
Yeah, but like, we don't know his motivation. Like, his story doesn't, like, we don't get explained until right at the end. So throughout like 2/3 of the movie, we've got this character we don't necessarily enjoy watching.
I think that was part of it, though, because when you first meet him, he's like, he's smoking heroin and like hanging around with hookers, and
banging
stuff,
hookers.
So he's sort of a bit of like, he's on the wrong side of it, but obviously he's a talented psychologist and he's been brought in to make this assessment.
Yeah.
And this is kind of his last kind of thing to get his life back on track. When we finally do reveal how it all works out, I was actually quite taken aback because I didn't see that part coming.
Yeah, no, it does. It was just the point that the reason why I think you're taken back so back is that it happens right at the end. So you've got all these emotions and things are happening.
Yeah, and the context, I guess, like, you don't sort of get his story until right at the end. Yeah, I mean, look, he wasn't sort of pushing himself with this movie, I think.
And I think the same can be said for, like, Helen Mirren. Like, Helen Mirren, she's amazing. She's pretty much good.
She's a cinema goddess.
Yeah, she's good in everything she pretty much does. And she was fine in this. It wasn't no amazing performance. I mean, the thing's a horror movie. So I think she did well for the character she kind of had to tell. And she gave it a lot of heart and a lot of humanity to that character.
She's also quite kooky as well, what I mean? Yeah. Like, when you first meet her, you're like, who's this like woman? Because she comes in wearing like a death, like guard outfit.
She looks like the crazy like bride lady from Insidious, if you've ever seen those flicks.
Yeah, like crazy cat lady who's like never left their house, but like has ghosts instead of cats.
Horror filmmaking, like as an art form itself, is quite a hard task. If you can pull off a good horror, like Jaws, for example.
Crimson Peak.
Yeah, totally. Or I was a huge fan of Crimson Peak, but like kind of the classic horrors, like The Shining, totally. Yep. It's a mixture of kind of like really cool cinematography, amazing acting line, like pretty much all the combos you need to pull off this tension.
Good,
Good
psychological tension.
And the bummer with Winchester, the scares irritated me hugely because it was just a jump scare after jump scare after jump scare after jump scare. And it got to the point, even pretty much with the first or second jump scare, I was calling it when it was about to happen. And it was kind of like, the mirror is going to move, then he moves it back, and then the mirror moves, and he moves it back. And I was like, cool, it's going to be coming, and then it's going to pop up. And then it became, there was no...
It becomes repetitive, you can sort of pick it.
Repetitive and pick it, and there was no times where I felt goosebumps during the movie. Like maybe once towards the end, but it was cheap, and it reminds me of Paranormal Activity, and I just hate jump scares, unless done right. And I feel like this film used it as like a tool, and it was just build up, sting, horror movie sting, and freak out, quick 5-frame shot of like a demon or whatever. And I was like, come on, man, I'm getting sick of this. Give us some good built up tension. Let the tension draw throughout the scene for a long amount of time, and then maybe tease us. Maybe don't reveal the scare. And then it sort of catches us off guard, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'd say the opposite, because the first half of the movie really got me going with all those jump scares.
Right.
And, you felt that,
Yeah.
But,
I felt you.
Yeah, like a few cuddles, to calm me down. But the second part of the movie, which was designed to be like the real scary stuff, like that didn't get me. I was kind of used to it by then, and I was like, okay, like scary ghosts, whatever.
See, it's funny because I was the opposite. I found the first half of the movie tedious and slow and boring because the jump scares weren't working for me. I was just getting bored. Yeah. But then by the second half, when the kind of the supernatural stuff started picking up and the demons ghosts, that's where I started feeling more tense and frightened for our characters because it became more apparent, more kind of physical. The editing choices in this film was infuriating. Now, if our fellow viewers, if you've ever seen the film The Room with Tommy Wiseau, you know like how they're doing like scenes. Not. They would always cut to like an exterior of San Francisco, just like in between scenes, even though the scenes are linked. And then if you're in a fan screen, they'll all yell out, "Meanwhile in San Francisco." I had the exact same thing happen in this movie where it's a scene like in a room, and then it cuts to an outside exterior of the house, multiple ones from like drone footage or whatever, or just moving shots around the house, just to cut back to that same room, just like to show, well, time's passed. Oh, better put an exterior in there to show that. Yeah. And it happened so often that every time it did happen, I was like, "Meanwhile in San Jose," and and again, that's that first half of the movie where it bogs it down.
So guys, in conclusion, it's just kind of your run-of-the-mill horror film. Look, it's nothing. Is it, The Shining? No, it's not. But, it's still entertaining. You're going to get a few jump scares. Probably a good, Friday night date movie, if you just want a few jump scares, nothing too scary. I think, could there have been more? Certainly, Helen Mirren, it would have been cool to see her really pushed and kind of, to the point where she's, really freaky and, out of control.
She does have that kind of that scary old lady kind of vibe down.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been Rosemary's Baby plus 50 years or something, that kind of scariness would have been quite cool.
That's another dude.
But we won't go into him. But, it could have had that look. But, look, I thought it was okay. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. But, yeah.
Nice. Overall, guys, I was slightly disappointed with Winchester. It's a bit disappointing that being a big old Australian production, and they dropped a lot of money in this movie, and I feel like it could have taken a bit extra time to kind of wrap it up a bit nicely, or just kind of give it a bit more love. Maybe they just rushed through it, I'm not sure, but like Sam said, it's very much a run-of-the-mill kind of horror movie. Editing's a bit lackluster. Again, the cinematography and production design were good, I'll give them that.
I think the historical setting as well.
Yes,
that's
really one thing I was going to jump on is that when I started really getting interested in the film when it started going into the history of the Civil War and that kind of stuff, and bringing in a bit of horror elements from that. And that's where I started getting exciting. And so I felt maybe it was a little bit tonally unbalanced. They were trying to figure out what kind of horror movie they wanted to be. Did they want to be a jump scare, or do they want to be a tense kind of historical horror? Yeah. And it just seemed uneven, and I don't know what happened, but I still had fun time. Helen Mirren's great, and Jason Clarke was fine. But overall, I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us on a very special review of Winchester, and a big thanks to my buddy Sam here for hooking us up.
Cheers, buddy.
And
see you again, man.
please go and check out his Spicy Pulp website. It's great. You find a lot of cool information, movie, TV, all that kind of jazz. And also check out his YouTube channel. He's got some really great trailer reaction videos, which is very funny. If you want to
jump scares.
And yeah, and if you want to see jump scares, just watch him reacting to trailers. It's hilarious.
Oh, 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 whoa, 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 oh, jeez, whoa, whoa, whoa.
But yes, thank you, Sam, so much for coming.
Man.
And
really appreciate it. Look, I've enjoyed being on the channel, and we'll have to do this again sometime.
we'll have to have you back. That'd be great. And thank you guys so much for watching. We really, really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. Check out our other videos. We've got some other reviews, some top fives, and all the other stuff. And of course, again, check out Sam. We're going to have his links in the description. Please give the guy some love. We love him, so we want you to love him too.